Jackred VT, your knight in not-so-shining armor. Today, well, what I was planning to do was make some Groundhog Day related jokes until I realized that Groundhog Day was on Monday, and well, I don't stream on Monday because my job is a little too rampant to allow me to do that. But from what I heard, Punxsutawney did see his shadow, so 6 more weeks of winter. So prepare for more, more bone-chillingly cold nights, and probably another foot of snow to have to shovel. Because 2026 shows no mercy. But given that February 2nd is 2 and 2, I'm just going to continue with the plan I originally had, which is essentially a quote-unquote double feature of two games to stream here today. Both rather short Game Boy games that I'll be playing through my Nintendo Switch and the Game Boy Nintendo Classics app, as you can see here. So, yeah, bring it up. My cool little avatar thingy. Let's see if this comes up. Thumbs up. Oh, yeah, I haven't touched this in a while, so let's see what we have. Greatest game, Kirby Star Stacker, Survival Kids, Sword of Hope, Kid Icarus, and Bionic Command. I'm gonna have to sort those out another time. But today we're gonna start off here with the first of the 2 games I plan to do, Kirby's Dream Land for the Nintendo Game Boy, released originally in 1992. This game is the start of the Kirby franchise, and essentially debut game for now legendary developer Masahiro Sakurai, or Daddy Sakurai as some people online like to call him. But anyway, funnily enough, on the box art here you can see that Kirby is white instead of his usual pink. Apparently, from what I gathered, the localization for this game happened pretty quickly, to the point where his final color hadn't even been decided yet. Sakurai wanted him to be pink, supposedly Miyamoto wanted him to be yellow, and while they were trying to debate this, the game was apparently ready to go for North America, and they were like, so is he pink or is he yellow? What color is he? And I guess since the Game Boy is monochrome, they decided to just make him white. You can see that on the box art. On the Japanese box art, he is actually pink, as Sakurai intended. But yeah, apparently the reason for Kirby to be the type of game it is attempt to be kind of an easy entry game, in case Super Mario wasn't easy enough for you. Kirby is arguably even easier. And funnily enough, certain things that are normally present with Kirby, such as his ability to suck in enemies and take their powers, originally didn't actually start here, funnily enough. That's the ability he's known for, but in his debut title, he doesn't have it. I don't know if that was a technical issue, or they just didn't think of it at the time, or they didn't have the ability to program it yet. But yeah, this is surprisingly basic for what it is, but it's the Game Boy, so I mean, what do you expect? So, anyway, let's get this started. POYO! Kirby's Dream Land, copyright 1992, HAL Laboratory, Nintendo. HAL developed it, Nintendo was the publisher. So I'm just gonna hit start here. Our first stage, Green Greens. Well, the original Game Boy was a green screen. In fact, I think if I, can I think I have to go back to the menu here. I can change it to the traditional puke green, but I'm gonna leave it to monochrome. So we have Waddle Dees, basically the Goombas of Kirby. That was a Bronto Burt, and as you can see, Kirby flies, kind of defeating the purpose of being a platformer when Kirby can just fly. Some games limit his ability to fly, like Kirby 64 and Forgotten Land. Big puffball. Even though I swallow enemies, nothing comes up. The little Poppy Bros Jr. there, who normally would, well, let me change the volume here. It's a little loud. Bird. There's the Warp Star. There's Poppy Bros Jr., the enemy known for bombs. And in most games, swallowing the bombs would give you a power-up, but in this one, like I said, it doesn't do that. And there he goes. Yep. Pretty basic, but that's the name of the game, boy. Okay, so this is funny here. This enemy here is, I think it's supposed, from what I understand, it's supposed to be like a fuzzy bear thingy, but given the limited graphics and the bit of imagination, to me it kind of looks like a pig wearing a visor like Geordi from Star Trek. Yeah, my imagination's weird, and you saw there, if we pause long enough, Kirby eventually does a little dance and does does random stuff here if you just sit pause long enough. Anyway. And funnily enough, Kirby was supposed to be called Twinkle Popo, but at some point they switched it to Kirby. Legend says it was because of Nintendo lore says that it came from John Kirby, who defended Nintendo in a lawsuit against Universal Studios regarding Donkey Kong. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. It makes for an interesting story, though. So here. Okay, nothing over there for some reason. There's the, the Maxim Tomato, which, if Kirby had taken damage, it would fully heal him. Let's see, anything out here? No, so what's the point? That up. Anything over here? No. Just suck up the Cappy. Ow. And it's on to the first boss already. Wispy Woods. Ow. I took damage from him. Embarrassing. Anyway, Wispy Woods would be a complete pushover if I had any powers. But since I don't, I have to actually wait for these apples to fall. Spit them out, and boom. Yeah, get used to it, wispy voice. You're gonna hit a lot. POYO! And now stage 2. Castle low low low. Low 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 low. Low 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 low. I'll get the screen nuke in the form of a microphone. POYO POYO! Yeah, Kirby's tone deaf apparently. Suck in these knock boos. Bomb. Which, I mean, this does have some kind of abilities, but nothing akin to what would happen later with Kirby. Ow. Ow. Okay, I guess I can't go back. So, the pep brew is what that is. That heals 2 units of health. In the anime, there was a Kirby anime in the 2000s. There's an episode where it appears where they call it, apparently, Pump Up D. Ah. Well, like, Pump Up D's nuts. Yeah, I made that joke. This is stupid. Oh, we have the invincibility candy, which is just the Starman. Let's go. Basically, Kirby gets a sugar rush. And I'm low on health, I just noticed. Look. We have Lolo from Adventures of Lolo, which was a series of puzzle games that HAL Laboratory made. I'll have to try those at some point. Tomato. Pepper. Oh. Okay, there's that. And the super spicy curry, which just gives Kirby heartburn, basically. Let's spew fire. I've never eaten curry. Is it actually spicy, or is it just certain types are spicy? We have those are Gordos, the spiky guys. Can't suck them up. Let's see, door. Ow! Jesus. Ow. Oh. And boss time. Now we have low, 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 and la la la. Not much harder, just 2 of them. And I died. Okay. Yeah, the hard part is making sure not to accidentally swallow the box things that they're pushing. It can also be confusing because they share a health meter, but both take 3 hits. So, okay, I've got rid of Lolo. Get La La. that? Magic star. Stage 3, Float Islands. Kirby, you're supposed to remove the hook before you eat the fish. Whatever, he's essentially has the mentality of a baby, so... Open up. Okay, fine. Don't. Waddle Doo, who has one eye and shoots lasers from it. In most Kirby games, this would give us the beam ability, but like I said, that's not a thing here. The not bloopers. Ow. Of course. Being a puffball, Kirby can just kind of float on the water. Not that he has to worry about drowning anyway, but... So... POYO! Nuts. Just gonna suck these nuts up and spit them out at you. My score was 66,660, so yeah. And right here where I need this thinking energy drink, Pet Brew. It's really called a Pet Brew, but later games they call it like just a basic energy drink. Speaking of energy drinks, here we go. We have a 1-up. Be careful not to... That's a bottomless pit. Kirby may not be able to drown, but he can still fall into a bottomless pit. 1-up. Good. I needed that. Here. More super spicy curry. Unfortunately, we can't use it on the not bullet bill. And going in the water, I believe, cancels it out right away. But I needed that. Oh, star! Get stuck in the whale. And now we're in the clouds. Have this thing which... Here's the boss, Kabula. Yeah, it actually has a name. Even though it's really essentially just a bullet bill on a blimp. It's called Kabula, apparently. And that's it. Maybe that item was a... I'll come back to that later, I'm sure. But... to stage 4. Bubbly clouds. Ow. Get some derpy looking lemon thing. I don't even know what that enemy's called, but looks like a lemon with a derpy face. Oh. Okay, and these are Scarfies. They look adorable, but when you try to suck, they get very angry. I don't know why, but yeah. They get angry and then they go boom. And it's kind of hard to see with the limitations of the Game Boy, but they have 2 eyes, but when they get angry, they become a Cyclops. And you thought Kirby's supposed to be the nightmare fuel, not the enemies. Because, I mean, realistically, these enemies aren't even doing anything to Kirby. They're just kind of in the way. Oh. Goes Sir Kibble. In most games, you would get the cutter ability, but not here. Which sucks because I like the cutter ability. But anyway. Float over those spikes. But the trick with Scarfies is just suck up enemies or air and spit it at them, and then they explode. I don't know what those are called, but they look kind of like demon masks. So I'm gonna go with that. I think there's... Ow! Stuff over here. Water. Ooh, a secret. We get another of these things, which I think it's... In English, it's called a mint leaf, but I think in Japan it's a sweet potato. Because, I know in the Kirby anime there's an episode that involves sushi where King Dedede puts a giant sweet potato on a piece of sushi and it gives Kirby the hiccups. And oh, okay, we have the mini boss, Mini Kracko. Ow! Come on. Ouch. And I messed up. Kracko is honestly one of the harder enemies in Kirby. Both as a boss and even in just kind of like war or something, because they made a big deal out of him in the Kirby anime. But, ow. Really, if I stand in the corner here, I should be safe. I won't get hit out on the warp star. And another mint leaf or potato thing, which, like I said, the Kirby animated episode where Kirby eats a sweet potato and it gives him the hiccups. But I don't think that translates well to Game Boy limitations, so the English version calls it like a mint leaf or something. Which, I mean, I love mint, but I don't recall it giving me, you know, intense gas or whatever. Okay, anything up here? Or am I just wasting time? I was just wasting time, but that's okay, because this game is extremely short. There's only 5 stages, and we're on the 4th already. And we're only a half hour in. So... super spicy curry. You know, if those stars hit Kirby, this might actually be a bit challenging, but they seem to just be special effects. Sure, if I could find a way over there, there's a secret, but screw it, we don't need it. That's our kibble. Bronto Burt. Waddle Do. Not to be confused with Waddle Don't. There's a door, but if we go into the moon, Kirby face plants into a Maxim tomato. I'll one up. Another Maxim tomato, and I missed that one up. I don't know why they need multiple Maxim tomatoes. It fully heals you. But anyway, now the real fight with Kracko. And like I said, I believe if I just stand in the corner here, I should not be able to get hit. Except from that. And that was surprisingly easy. Now, time for the Kirby dance again. And now on to the final stage, Mount DDD. Anyway, the basic plot of the game, since I didn't mention it earlier, is just King DDD stole a bunch of food, and if you mess with Kirby's food, that's a case of fuck around and find out. Anyway, it starts off with essentially a boss rush, which kind of shows how short this game is when they have to do a boss rush to extend it. But we're going to start with good old Wispy Woods. It's actually a remix of the stages we just went through. Touch the Kirby and go through. And it's on to Wispy Woods again. Ow. Yeah, that's his attack, really. It's just spit air like Kirby does. Even in this game, he's not a challenge without any power-ups, but with power-ups, he's pathetic. Okay, now we'll go to fight Lo and La again. but not Fanto. That enemy's the Broom Hatter. Not only gets rid of the Gordo, but other enemies. And these boss fights, from what I can tell, are no different from the others. Ow. My strategy is just focus on one at a time. It's because since they share a health bar, it doesn't make it clear how much they have left. See, they're both here, but there's two energy bars, or 2 hit points left. But, like I said, they both take 3. And there we go. Out to Float Island. Swallow. That would be challenging if Kirby didn't have the ability to fly. If you saw my Mario World streams, I mentioned how nothing breaks a platformer like the ability to fly, and Kirby kind of proves that. That's Kabula. Whoop. And I died. So, put back out here. Well, I guess when you pop a balloon, that's what happens. Ow. Okay, now let's not get poked by Gordo this time. Although, those are Kaboo that I just swallowed. That's it for Kabula. Now it's Kracko again. No surprise and no secret in the moon this time. Just kind of fall. And it's just back to fighting Kracko again. Didn't work the first time, not gonna work the second time. Or maybe it will. Ow. Down we go again. Ow. There's Krakow. Now we just go into the DDD logo. And there he is, King DDD, the quote-unquote bad guy of the Kirby series. Though that's in quotations, because this is pretty much the only game where DDD's actually the bad guy. Basically every other Kirby game he's at best, at worst he's just a nuisance in most other Kirby games. Really more of an anti-hero than a actual villain. Fight him in his boxing ring. Just gotta wait for him to jump and or use his hammer. No, you do not get to suck up. Only Kirby gets to suck up. I just gotta kind of wait for him to give me a star to throw at him. Ow. So he'll just throw himself like that. No, you will not suck me up, or off, or whatever. Yeah, almost there. Let's not get greedy. And King DDD is blasting off again. Ding. And we collected the 5 stars that will allow Kirby to basically go fully engage in the inflation fetish and take King DDD's castle and spread the food back to the people of Dreamland. But their chief designer, Masa Sakurai, that's the Sakurai who later go on to do Smash Brothers and Kid Icarus Uprising. Some of these, I think, are just due to space limitations. Others, I think, are pseudonyms, because this is a time when sometimes he uses, yes, special thanks, Bobby and Cypher. Those are just pseudonyms to prevent talent poaching, which if you just paid your talent better, you wouldn't have to worry about that. And so many players. That's the "and you" at the end of credits. Kirby Streamland, presented by HAL Laboratory Inc. and Nintendo. Thank you for playing. So, how do we rate this game? Um, I would put it basically right at the bottom of C tier for the game, because Kirby says bye-bye as he brings the food back to what look like other Kirbys in the shadow. Good job. Press up and select on the title screen to start a new adventure. Good luck. You're gonna need it. Extra game is basically hard mode. Did he throw in a fit? It's like, it ain't fair, damn it. I'll be back. No, you won't. This is the only game where you're a bad guy. Anyway, so as I was saying, this game, I mean, it started the Kirby franchise, which has become a big player in Nintendo's pantheon of characters. Not quite to the level of Mario or Zelda, but still sizable. Sakurai, after working on this and other Kirby games, would eventually go on to make the Super Smash Bros. Series, which did way better, sales-wise at least. Right now, everybody's currently, I guess, eyeing Sakurai now for. He recently finished Kirby Air Riders for Switch 2, and so now the next project on his list is most likely going to be Smash Brothers for Switch 2, which may be a new game or maybe just Smash Brothers Ultimate Switch 2 Edition. As of this recording, there's no info on what the next Smash game is going to be, but it's going to be one of those two. And if I had to bet, probably just Smash Ultimate Switch 2 Edition with better frame rate and adding more characters along the way. But as for this game, given although it started the Kirby franchise, the game is extremely basic, even kind of for Game Boy standards. Took about, let's say, a half hour to beat. Of course, for games on the go, they don't need to be marathon adventures. But lacking things like Kirby's trademark ability to copy enemies, or copy enemies' powers, it kind of falls a bit flat. In fact, they even sort of remade this game entirely in Kirby Superstar on the Super Nintendo just 4 years after this game came out. So, if you really want to play this, I mean, Switch Online gives it to you, but really stick with either extra game or what I'm going to show. Let's up a select. Okay, I think I have to reset the game. But yeah, press up and select, or you can press extra game, or reset the game. So just set up A and select, or you can do down B and select. And that gives you configuration mode, which gives us the ability to adjust Kirby's health, his vitality, and lives. So let's go up to 9 lives, or 1 life, 6 bits of energy, or 1. Meaning if you really wanted to, you could challenge yourself to go through the game without getting hit once, which that would be a challenge. So maybe I'll try that one day. I've never actually done it, but let's see. So music. Sound. Oh. Kirby's tone deaf singing. The power of suck. I think it's just a blending. Swallowing. Gotta admire the simplicity of these old games. What does sound go all the way up to? So 32 plus the one there puts it at 33 total sounds, and music would that I believe is the Game Over theme, title theme. Anyway, with Kirby's Dream Land, I would put it basically at the bottom of C tier for mainly just for starting the Kirby franchise, even though since it was remade in Superstar, which many consider one of the best Kirby games ever, if not the best ever, I would just play it in that, really. But gotta give it kudos for starting up the Kirby franchise. Anyway, as I said, it's down B and select gives configuration mode, which you find out after beating extra mode, which this sets it to extra. Let's see here. Just gonna set it to that. Oh. Okay, so I have 6 lives and 2 units of energy. Main difference with hard mode is there's a lot more enemies, and boss patterns are a bit more erratic. So let's just see how far I can get here, and then we'll go on to the next game I want to do. Bomb. May not look that different right now, but ow. But yeah, I think there's more enemies, and the boss patterns are much more erratic. Is there a... We're at Wispy Woods now. I guess it's... Okay. I guess it's normal mode, because on extra difficulty, Wispy Woods is supposed to drop Gordos, but I guess configuration mode can be hard enough as is if you set them to one hit point and 1 life. But anyway, that's enough for now, so let's just gonna reset the game. Or wait, not reset, game selection. Right, and then we're going to go to the other game in this double feature, Super Mario Land, also for the Game Boy, released in 1989. It was a launch title for the Game Boy. Though Nintendo, understanding the way portable gaming works, they made the wise decision to put Tetris as the packing game rather than Super Mario Land. Mario was pretty well established by 1989, but portable gaming is a much different beast from console gaming or PC gaming. Game Boy itself and Nintendo's handheld line in general kind of still illustrates what they have established as lateral thinking of withered technology, which in a nutshell basically means you don't need 4 terabytes of RAM to make a solid game. You just need, the drive and understanding of hardware to make it happen. I mean, the Game Boy was technically outdated when it came out, because soon after, Sega had the Game Gear, Atari had the Lynx, and then NEC had the Turbo Express. All systems that were, from a technical standpoint, much more powerful than anything the Game Boy could do. Yet the Game Boy is the one that came out on top. Probably because, and maybe because Nintendo had a near monopoly at the time, but I mean, Sony kind of had something similar with the PS2 in terms of, market saturation, yet the PSP, despite being more advanced than the Nintendo DS, did not come out on top. The DS did. But anyway, this is something that kind of irritates me with modern gaming when people complain about, when Nintendo systems tend to be underpowered compared to likes of most of the systems. They don't do it just to be spiteful or whatever. There's a method to the madness. Because with the system outware being, not top of the line, it's easier to understand, making it easier to develop games for, and cheaper, of course. I mean, that's the trade-off for, handheld gaming versus console or PC gaming. You get to take the game with you, but it's going to be a bit less powerful. Even with the Sega Game Gear, the Game Gear was not a portable Genesis. It was a portable Master System. So much so that there was even an adapter to let you play Master System games on the Game Gear. And the Turbo Express, even though that essentially was a portable TurboGrafx 16, it did not support the CD add-on to the TurboGrafx 16, because to make it a handheld, compromises have to be made. And even now, when people complain about the Switch 2 supposedly not being as powerful as the PS5 Pro or the rumored pending PlayStation 6, that's because if it was, the battery life would be even more abysmal than the Switch 2 already is. But when it comes to the handhelds of the early 90s, Game Gear, Lynx, Turbo Express all had about 6 or 7 hours of battery life. And in the case of the Game Gear and Lynx, at least six AA batteries. So essentially one battery per hour, essentially. Meanwhile, the Game Boy needed only 4 AA batteries and would last at least 3 times as long. So you can see how, if you do cost-benefit analysis, it makes sense. But anyway, we have Mario Land, which, is a bit of an odd entry for Mario, but it was actually not developed by Miyamoto and the usual Mario team. It was made by Gunpei Yokoi and his team, the same team who made the Game Boy, and before that, the Game & Watch line. Since they made the Game Boy, I guess they were tasked with making a Mario game, while Miyamoto and company were working on, I guess it would have been Mario 3 at the time, or possibly even Mario World. So Yokoi and his crew were given the task of making a Mario game for the Game Boy, I guess, which is why a lot of things here you kind of only see here or wouldn't see again for several years down the line. Anyway, let's boot up here. See Super Mario Land, top score. Funny looking Mario up there. Let's see the little demo here. basic, but that's the name of the game when it comes to, portable gaming. It's not meant to be a marathon session. Okay, you want a game, stick with something like Skyrim and play it on PC where you can have all your mods. So anyway, let's go. Or as Mario would say, let's go. Have the not Goombas. Screw it, supposedly they're called Goombos, but I'm just gonna call them Goombas. Sure. Coins. It's in the middle of the desert. That's a 1-up. And it's actually a fire flower, though it's not fireballs, it's a super ball. Which is unique in that it bounces off objects, as you can see. Oh. Yep. Shit. That's the little fighter flies from Mario Brothers, the arcade game, oddly enough. Starman, which, instead of the usual Starman theme, it does the can-can. Block. Okay, now we have the end. If we take the bottom one, it just takes us straight to the next stage. If we hit the top one, we get a bonus game before we go to the next one. So, let's see. Yep. 2 lives. Sweet. Mushroom. I think those are Bezos. Oh. Wait, these are not Koopa Troopas, but Bombshell Koopas. Hit them and their shell explodes. Not really much to say here, it's just another Mario adventure on the Game Boy. Should be able to... Yes. Since the Game Boy was monochrome, the 1-up is a heart rather than a mushroom. Hit 100 coins, so 1-up. Let's try to... Okay. Let's go for 3. Nope. Okay, so I get a fire flower, or super ball flower. That's fine. It's the piranha plant. See, using ancient Egyptian emoticons to spell out XD. Oh, okay, so the Super Ball not only bounce around, but it can even collect coins if it hits any. Obviously only one on screen at a time. And after a while, it just kind of disappears. See XD right there. We used things called emoticons before emojis to make funny faces and whatnot out of, to send messages to people. Oh. These guys. Okay, there is a way up there. I forget how to do it though. But that's not important. What's important is this bounty of coins. A mushroom to get us out. There's another flower. Donut blocks have essentially stand in for Bowser. He essentially functions the same as Bowser, despite not being Bowser. That explosion is supposed to be getting rid of the boss, but we already got rid of him. Here. Thank you, Mario. Oh, Daisy. Yep, this is the introduction of "Hi, I'm Daisy!" But turns into the stupid fighter fly. And after being the boss, we always get the bonus game. Let's try for 3. 1, that's good enough. And that's on to World 2, the Ocean World. And funnily enough, this is a, at first glance, it might seem like just a tree, but it's actually a spaceship that is apparently beaming Mario down. That'll make sense later. Have the bonefish, basically the cheeps. Okay, I guess they're immune to the Super Ball. Because, yeah, it goes right through them, I guess. Though realistically, them chomping up like that should damage Mario. But I guess since they're bone, it doesn't do anything. Another star. More can-can. Kind of weird they went with that for the Starman theme instead of just a Game Boy rendition of the traditional Starman theme. Guess someone on the team must have really liked the can-can. Have angry seahorses. Oh, damn it. Lives, which is a pretty good amount for getting how short this game is. Damn it. Alright, and again, a spaceship beaming Mario down. Have basically Terrence and from Terrence and Phillip. Kaboom. And shit. Okay, well I can hit that one. Which, since I'm small Mario, I can't break the blocks and get up there. And I overshot it. I promise I'm good at these games. Playing this one basically since I was a little kid. But I guess old age combined with the Let's Play curse combined with maybe a bit of lag from recording means sometimes I goof up. Should be able to find a mushroom, but there it is. And I didn't make it. Also kind of funny how when I pause the game, the waves, I guess, keep moving. You think it would stop. There we go. Just run, we can skip over the little gaps. 6, 7. Okay, this might be a bit difficult. I'm gonna try anyway. Shit. Oh well. I didn't get the top one, so no bonus game for me. Just go straight to the next stage. An underwater stage. With shooting. Apparently this is Gradius now. We're piloting its little submarine. But if this game had color, would no doubt be yellow, because Apparently all submarines are yellow. If you know, you know. We just keep shooting. Thankfully, you don't have to have the super ball fire or super ball flower to shoot. You just get to shoot anyway. Oh, here's a mushroom. So if you're Super Mario, if you're Big Mario, you have to be careful though, because you could get squished between these blocks. Good old side-scrolling goodness. Let's see. Oh! The coins spell out Mario. Should have a... which is good. We fight prototype Kingdra, basically. Stupid ball in the way. I mean, I guess technically we could just skip past him, but it's 5,000 points to kill him, and he's not that hard. And there we go. And I just noticed I'm over 100,000 points. Not that we're going to see it here, probably, but if you get over 100,000 points and get a game over, you get to continue. Thank you, Mario. Oh, Daisy. Oh. I've seen enough hentai to know where that's going. Okay, can I get the 3 this time? Oh. 2, I'll take it. And now we're at Easter Island. With all these Easter Island heads. And Easter Island heads with wings. Across. Oh, have bullet bills. Find secrets. Oh! Touch the spikes. I was gonna say, it's supposed to be an enemy there. Did I off-screen him or something because of where I spawned? And he smooched me. That was stupid. Okay, at least the 10 coin block respawns. That was a little close. Apparently, unlike other Mario games, standing on the bullet bill does not just way it. Just get chased by Easter Island head on crack. And I didn't get it. Whoop. Whoop. And he punched me. And I guess due to where the checkpoint is, it kind of despawned those bullet bills. Bounce. Nope. Over this way. And I off-screen him. Giant boulder that we have to ride to get over the spike pits. Pretty sure in another game this would just be, those rocks would just be, you know, take damage instead of used to get over these spike pits. That was close. Just jump over. To get up here. Or not. Oh well. Alright, 3-2. Which, based on the music, you think was a fortress stage or something, but it isn't. It's just a regular stage that for some reason they have the boss music here. Ooh. Spiders. Spiders. Oh, and a jumping spider. This one's a bit of a tight squeeze, but ah, damn it. Jump. Spikes. I think touching of spikes by itself doesn't damage Mario, just if they're the falling spike kind. Never mind. I guess they do damage Mario even if he touches them. If I was playing this on the Super Game Boy or a Game Boy Color or something, you'd be able to tell that that's a dropping block. But with the monochrome setup I have here through the Switch Online, it blends in pretty well, actually. Also, Mario drops like a freaking rock in this game. Mr. Jumping Spider. And he dropped. So nerve-wracking. Played this game before, but when I'm recording myself, even though I don't have any viewers on the stream, it's Rattles the nerves. Damn it. So the waterfall moves, and I think it's one of those like illusion things where if you look at it a certain way, it looks like the waterfall is actually going up and not down. Pretty funny. And I... And I fucked up. Yeah. Even though it had the boss music, as boss or castle music, as I think of it, there was no boss at the end. It's just this. Now we're on 3-3. So Mario gets like no momentum in this game. Nope. Jackpot. So many coins. Who knew Easter Island had all this money? I see a question block over here. And I missed. Up. Just what I needed. And these jumping spiders, just what I not needed. But shit. Oh. Down here again. 10 block. Or however many. Oh. Okay, so you're supposed to jump on the boulders and go over that guy, but fucking invincibility frames for the win. Thank you, Mario. Oh, a daisy. It's turned into a fucking spider this time. Three lives. Can I get it? And I did. Yay. And World 4, I think it's called the Chai Kingdom, but it might as well be a mix of Japan and China. Damn it! I guess that doesn't count as being on top of it. We have this little girl thingy here. Stomp on them and they don't die. Basically the dry bones of this game. Step on them, they don't go. Instead, they just get back up. It's supposed to be a zombie thing, but it kind of looks like a little girl with pigtails. But it essentially functions as a dry bones. Damn it. Oh. You're supposed to fall in the pit. Shit. Music's pretty good, though. I deflected the bullet bill. So I gotta kind of wonder how fast Mario moves if he's able to stomp on bullets. Donut blocks. Damn it. Slapped me. Dope. They throw three of these things at me. Okay, we're at the end. This time we do get the bonus round. Okay. Ideally, I always want lives, but the flower could come in handy at this point. 2 lives. Good enough. For 2. I touched the shell and died. And it wasn't even the explosion, just the shell itself. And I did it again. Okay, let's not jump on that fucking Koopa this time. Have a flower thing that's essentially like the Panzer things from Super Mario 2 USA. And Mario got shot in the butt. This is the second to last stage, by the way, so it's understandable that it's a bit tricky. Snake goes into the river. Avoid the roto disc. Now, something kind of interesting about this is you have stuff here like the roto disc, the zombie enemy that functions like dry bones, the donut lifts, stuff that were, and the star just falls through the floor in this game. But anyway, stuff like the roto disc, the donut blocks, the little zombie thing that functions like dry bones. Those are enemies. Those are all things that basically debuted in Mario 3, which in Japan had been out at this point, but wouldn't be out in North America until 1990. So for American gamers, some of this stuff. Also, these guys shooting fireballs and whatnot could be like the Venus fire traps of Mario 3, which, you know, Japan would have had at that point, but America would not have. So seeing these things for the first time in this game versus Mario 3 might have been more interesting, for Americans at least, but the Japanese would have already seen that stuff in Mario 3. And it's getting pretty narrow. Run. Let's try to get one more bonus before the final showdown. A lot of lives here. Only one. And 4-3, much like 2-3, is essentially Gradius, only this time in the sky instead of in the ocean. The little plane is actually called the Sky Pop. And see, I'm small Mario, but I can still shoot, thankfully. Those guys dropping bullet bills at us. Come on, let me find the mushroom. What's up? Damn it. These little sparkly guys from Balloon Fight, I guess. Now we're invincible, we can take them out. Oh, damn it. Coins. Let's just see how many we can grab. Navigate around. Because biplanes can totally go in reverse like that. Mushroom. Good. Dodge the fists. Have a cloud throwing chickens at us. But that's not the final boss. No, that's the penultimate boss. Make sure to go in with the mushroom. Oh, damn it. It does kind of sound like a chicken, that sound. Alright, now the true final boss, Tatanga, the space alien. It's okay, got 8 lives, and 2 continues if need be, but I don't think I'll need them. Just keep shooting. I just dodged the... Damn it, I took damage. Just mash that fire button. And he's done. Now we rescue Daisy. For real this time. I am Daisy! Oh, Daisy, a Daisy. Thank you, Mario. Little heart. Your quest is over. We present you a new quest. And beating this does get you the quote-unquote hard mode. Much like Mario 1. And beating that lets you essentially start over from any world of the all four of them. So yeah, that's Super Mario Land. Producer G. Yokoi. Yes, the late Gunpei Yokoi. Director Sokata. Yes, but anyway, for Mario Land, this one I give a B tier. I mean, it's essentially Mario on the go, and that's all it really needed to be. It introduced us to stuff like Daisy, characters like Daisy, the gave us the Super Ball flower that made her appearance in Mario 2. Sound by Hip Tanaka. It ended up getting a sequel that would introduce us to other characters and be an adventure that's honestly much better than this one, but this one's not bad for what it is. Special thanks to Taki, whoever that is. But yeah, Yokoi and his people did a good job on this for what it is. Yokoi sadly died in a car accident in 1997. So, if you're not familiar with who he is, he essentially was Miyamoto before Miyamoto, giving us stuff like stuff like the Ultra Hand, the Ultra Machine, toys Nintendo made in the 60s, then the Game & Watch, then the Game Boy, then the ill-fated Virtual Boy, then left Nintendo, giving us the Bandai Wonder Swan, a competitor to the Game Boy. Then, like I said, he tragically died in a car accident in 1997, which is a shame because he still had all kinds of stuff that he most likely would have done. It would be interesting to see what a creative mind like his would have done with the likes of social media and, more modern technology. But anyway, this game I put in the B tier for, it holds up about as well as a Game Boy game could hold up, really. And considering it was a launch title, that says a lot. So, anyway, time to find someone to raid. Yeah, we're kind of cut it short here again. Let's see, who can I find here? I already raided her. Okay, I'm gonna raid this person. Not that it really matters. Alright, so 2 games for the price of 1 in this stream. I'd say that's pretty decent. So I'm gonna go ahead and just raid this person. So basically until next time, this is Jackrid VT. Ride the wind.